My dad is a professor at a university, and at a conference he actually talked with Afton Butler, who is the vice president of the Worldwide Organization for Women. And through some certain opportunities that came up, I was able to connect with her, and she invited me to be an intern at the United Nations in Geneva, Switzerland this past summer. And it was an amazing opportunity. And I just went over there for about a month and just helped out with some projects over there. I was able to conduct interviews and just get to know women better, and it was good to see the influence that women can have around the world and the influence that they can have for the better. Another project I worked on was preparing and participating in ECOSOC. They're the conference of NGOs, which is the non-governmental organizations at the UN. And it was the Economic and Social Council where different forums were put on, different platforms, talking about healthcare and HIV, AIDS, and there were women who I met who had come from places where they felt unsafe, and even in their own homes they didn't feel like there was security. It was very eye-opening getting outside of Utah and outside of the United States, and I think that youth need to be involved in the world around them, and they need to be aware of the different freedoms that they have, and they should realize that they are the leaders of tomorrow.
I was offered an internship through the University Neighborhood Partnership to do a documentary on anything I wanted. And I worked with two other students, one from East and one from West also. And we decided to work on racism and stereotyping in schools. We interviewed many students from all over the city, from East, West, even some university students, and asked them about their experience in high school. And it was really hard to find people because it's a touchy subject. You have to create like this really nice bond that make them feel safe when you're asking them, because it's really hard to talk about racism. We saw in our research three main themes. One of them was that students felt that they didn't belong in school because they're being mistreated. And another one was just overall institutionalized racism, which is like a school system and also like teachers. And then the third one was they felt like they didn't belong, like through peers. So they said like they felt too white with their colored friends, or they felt too brown. And so we had different stories on that. We also decided to tell our own story, so it could be first person, and then have the interviews kind of support us. And so each of the people that were involved said their own story, and mine was on institutionalized racism. The other person was African American, and so some teachers thought she was carrying a blade or a knife. And another one was cultural racism, and she's Muslim, and so she wears a hijab, and so she was talking about that. The main goal for the documentary was to show that racism still happens, and also the effects. And so that's why we show the three ways racism affects people negatively. And we don't want this to happen to other people. My faith gives me lots of values, seeing values like being Christ-like, so I should help people. That's why I'm doing activism, because I should help people if I know something wrong is happening.
A big part of what motivated the condom campaign, well, there were a few things, I guess, but for one thing, a friend of mine, she unexpectedly got pregnant, and she gave her child up for adoption and left school, and I haven't really heard from her since. And I thought that was really sad. You know, she had a lot of potential. I decided to talk to my principal about sex ed, you know, about maybe making some condoms and some literature available. And I found out, I hadn't known this, but it's actually illegal for for the school to give condoms to its students. And so me and a friend of mine sort of started a guerrilla condom distribution campaign, and we contacted Planned Parenthood and they gave us literature, they gave us condoms. Whenever people tell me that sort of education will, I don't know, like motivate people to have sex, which I don't really understand, I tend to offer myself as as an example, because I am a Mormon girl. I go to seminary every morning, and I never stray from that, and I probably know more about STDs and about pregnancy and all of that than anybody else, but at the same time, like, I'm as enthusiastically abstinent as I ever was. I probably own more condoms than any other virgin in the United States, 400 or something, and I've never used any of them. And so, I just tried to tell people being abstinent is awesome, but education is not going to affect whether people have sex. I know this from personal experience. It is, however, going to affect whether people protect themselves.